In what is the least controversial video idea I have ever had, today we are going to be finding out the superior cultures of the world in EU4. That's right, every culture in the game is now an independent nation, and we are going to have them fend for themselves in this cold, brutal world. This video was heavily requested in the comments, and if you have a video idea you would like to see played out, make sure you leave it in the comments below as well. Also, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel while you're down there. Patrons also get early access to these videos, so consider supporting. I have received so many comments requesting videos like this with the cultures united or trade nodes and all that stuff. So keep them coming. Leave a comment below if you have a suggestion of something fun that you think other people would enjoy seeing. But yes, of course, every culture in the world is now a nation. And that means you get cultures like this, which have horrible border gore, but is, realistic, leading to political map mode border gore like this. The New World nations are indeed natives, so that should keep it at least somewhat balanced. And of course, Europe is going to be contentious. I'm sure there's going to be at least a couple of people that are going to be like, well, why wouldn't it be this nation that would represent this culture? It's only natural. Because it's a video game, my friends. Constantinople is in the hands of the Greeks. Wales independently shagging them sheep. North Ireland is indeed Ireland, and I think that we can definitely expect some interesting stuff, especially out of independent Catalonia. With United Persia, they're in a good spot to push out from their starting spot, but there is a couple of nations around them that could put up a fight. India looks better, but not that much better. They're still horrible border gore, and I think you can expect the massive hug boxes to prevent any major tag uniting the subcontinent, because they're just going to ally each other or ally their rivals, and then no borders changes. The lands over here look mostly the same, but a couple of changes obviously in China. Korea has lost 2 provinces. Japan is 3 nations now. 4 if you count Hokkaido. China is obviously split up, but the Ming still possesses the mandate, so keep an eye on that. Almost each island is an independent nation. A couple of splits over here, like in Java. And I didn't know this, but did you guys know that Java, just this island right here, has like 144 or something like that million people that live on it today? To put that into perspective, that is more than the entire population of the country of Russia. That's wild. Australia is made up of a bunch of natives that have taken over the land, as is New Zealand. So yeah, I'm not sure what to expect over here. Maybe we can see some native tribes uniting and then kind of fending off the European colonizers, but hard to tell. It's not super relevant to this one, but I did make a little tiny mod that I tweaked a couple of numbers to make things a little more interesting. Namely, people are going to get a colonist. Obviously, every province is colonized right now, but it should hopefully make things a little more interesting in future videos. Maybe, we'll see. I'm not set on it, but I do want to make sure that I'm kind of allowing the AI to kind of spread its wings, so to speak. I feel like sometimes if there's a province that needs colonized, it just sits there and people don't take advantage of it. And I really want to give the AI the opportunity to spread its wings. So let me know how you feel about that. But before we even unpause, I'm sure you guys know who I'm rooting for. You got to root for the Zulu. But you guys know the drill. We turn it up to speed 5 and we unpause. An interesting event here. In the first 2 months of the game, the leader of Sicily died. They fell under a personal union of Dalmatia, and Greece is contesting it. Now, I don't think they're going to stay there because Sicily has 80 some liberty desire. So Greece is probably going to take the PU. I imagine that they're going to have naval dominance, but we'll see how things go with that. But either way, pretty interesting. I should also mention before we get too far into it, we do have an HRE and it has the same provinces that it does in a base game. But you can see here, they're not going to be passing any reforms because they're already losing imperial authority in 1444. And we do have some wars over Chinese hegemony using the Unified China CB. So maybe some of these tags will actually be able to push through and conquer some land and maybe even reform sort of a Qing or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Well, I'm not going to say too much about this, but it does look like the Ottomans are about to conquer quite a bit of land from Armenia, though they do have an exclave over here that they'll probably be able to exile to. And it looks like Ethiopia with their ally of Somalia are going to be pretty strong, considering the fact that they have claims on the entirety of this region. Also, I should probably point out we do have a Prussia. However, they are Catholic, which means they are actually not allowed to have the Prussian monarchy. You can see down there it says not available due to not having the appropriate religion. So kind of a bummer, but it's pretty cool. They still have really good national ideas. However, it does look like Zulu has militarization and they are stacking it up very, very quickly. And it appears that England has gone with House Lancaster here for the War of the Roses, but they do have quite a few pretender rebels. We'll see if they can push them back. Based and red-pilled Catalonia had actually eaten up Aragon, so that makes Catalonia probably the strongest nation over here on Iberia, maybe tied with Portugal and or Granada. And here we go, as predicted, it is indeed true. Sicily is a personal union under Greece now, and funny enough, it actually appears that Dalmatia was full annex between Croatia and Bosnia. So yeah, they're gone. Looks like House Saud over here not doing well, actually defending against Hejaz and the Mamluks at the moment. They have Loristan and Syria as friends, but they are surrounded. And judging by just the development of the Mamluks alone, I'm going to assume that they're going to die. And it looks like Poland is actually getting their revenge for the deluge, and they are actually pushing, attacking for this Tuchel or whatever that is, with their ally of Lithuania, and they are at war with Finland and Estonia. So we'll see if Poland is strong this time. And I said ally, what I meant to say was personal union. They took the Jagiellonian, or however it's pronounced. And with all this devastation in the world, I have to say, I'm happy to see Albania is prospering. In case you didn't know, when Allah created the world, he actually gave the entire world to Albania, but Albania, nice country, so Albania give land to other country. Meanwhile, it seems like the politics over in Japan are starting to slowly but surely get sorted out. Tokugawa has taken over the majority of the development in this central part, and this Otomo, or however it's pronounced, is probably not going to last very long. Also, I'm not sure if Manchu formed or if they were there in 1444, but we do have a Manchu, and they've got a couple of extra provinces, so it looks like they are probably going to be pushing out from their starting spot as well. And here's a war that I am excited to see how things go. You can see the Mamluks here at war with the Ottomans, but when we take a closer look here, you're going to see Ottomans not doing well. They've got a lot of rebels, and the Mamluks are rolling them. And it would now appear that Greece is getting in on some of the action with their personal union of Sicily, jumping across the Aegean and occupying a bit of Anatolian lands. Oh yeah, it went about as good as you would expect it. The Ottoman's name is actually over in Armenia, which is really funny. But yeah, Greece took basically all of the coast here, and the Mamluks oozed into central Anatolia, leaving the Ottomans with some disgusting borders, but they do still exist, so they've got that going for them. And picking at the bones of the Ottomans here, Georgia attacking for a couple of claims in Armenia. I actually didn't realize this, but these Pontic Mountains actually separate the Ottomans into two distinct regions, separated geographically. And yeah, they're probably going to end up losing a bit of this land to Georgia. So add that to the list of horrible things that have happened to the Ottomans in the last like 7 years. Meanwhile, up in the north, Finland has claims on the entirety of Sweden, and they are pushing them. They have attacked them, and it's looking pretty good. They have a lot of the land up here in the north occupied. Obviously, most of their development is down here in the south, but yeah, it looks like Finland is doing okay. And they also have Estonia and Prussia as their allies, so maybe they're going to pull out. I assume they will if they attacked. And it does appear that the French have cores over here on Burgundy. They've actually already taken some land, I think, and they're going to continue their conquest, probably full annex Burgundy this time. And finally, like 30 years in, the English have decided to make a move, pushing to unite the Isles here, and they actually are probably going to annex Scotland this time around. Catalonia has migrated. They were pushed out of Valencia by the Grenadins Andalusia, and they have pushed into Navarra, splitting a bit of it with Castile. So they've lost some land, but they've gained some land, though this land up here is kind of garbage compared to this land, so probably a net loss overall. Now, I'm not really quite sure what to expect about institutions. Colonialism may not spawn unless one of these guys conquers land over in the New World. So we'll have to see how that goes. I mean, if it doesn't spawn, it's not really a big deal because it's like it doesn't spawn for anybody. So everybody is behind kind of deal. But yeah, I don't know. Regardless, the Highlanders have been exiled to the Isle of Man on the British Isles. Cornwall has also been integrated into the English crown. Catalonia has taken back the land that they lost to Granada and then some, and it looks like they've actually pushed well into Castile, splitting a part of Leon with Portugal as well. Meanwhile, every Greek's wet dream, they have conquered the majority of the development in Anatolia, getting rid of the Ottomans entirely. Meanwhile, Finland is conquering lots of land up north, and Poland, Lithuania, though mostly just Poland this time around, has pushed all the way over into the Rus. Also, how dope is this? Theodoro is not in Theodora anymore, but is instead in Crimea, and plenty of the land over there in the Tartary steppes. Persia's doing pretty good though. Luristan is still hanging on there. And India is just still doing India, though Bengal is like 2 provinces, so I like to see that. China is still absolutely a mess, but looking up north, Manchu is definitely doing well. The islands over here continue to just kind of do their own thing for the most part. And Zulu has pushed a little bit into Khoisan, but not a whole lot. South America is still absolutely a mess. Look at the borders between Arawak and Carib. That is terrible. And North America also very much still a mess. What do you guys say about bringing over some Western technology and modernizing this continent, right? No reformation yet, but it will certainly spawn soon. It's going to be slower because there isn't as many tags. Obviously, the HRE is mostly consolidated into like 7 or 8 different tags, so it'll be slower, but it will still happen. And in 1563, the Protestant Reformation has begun and has taken over a decent chunk of the development, mostly in Germany, the British Isles, and over in the land of the Northmen. The Catalonian conquests continue in Iberia, and France, despite conquering Brittany, has not conquered Burgundy. So I don't know why they're just kind of being so passive, but they're being very passive. The Commonwealth has formed right next to a beefy Finland, though I don't think Finland has really done anything since the last time we looked. They've actually lost a province over here to the Commonwealth, so might be a bad sign of things to come. Manchu continues to consolidate the land up here and dominate in the north, and meanwhile China is being consolidated between a couple of tags, namely Shu, Manchu, and then maybe Wu over there on the coast. India has consolidated quite a bit, but still quite a bit of border gore. Needless to say, Shan has pushed over into Bengal. Bengal still exists in those 2 provinces. Mewar has pushed over here into Gujarat, but yeah, still no like runaway power. Our old pals, the Zulu, have conquered the entirety of South Africa, and the Portuguese have landed over here in Madagascar. The natives of both North and South America continue to do nothing for the most part, as does Western and Central Africa, though Eastern Africa is for the most part split between Mamluks, Ethiopia, and a beefy Somalia. Persia looks almost exactly the same, though I think maybe they ate Iraq. Syria has been slimmed down a bit, and the Mamluk Greek border is basically exactly the same as it was last time I looked, I think. Of course, England has formed Great Britain and has pushed a bit into Ireland, though they do not have Northern Ireland just yet, at least not all of it. Portugal ended up spawning colonialism. I assume it's because they colonized Bermuda. And the printing press spawned in Switzerland. I forgot to mention that the Renaissance had spawned over here in Ferrara. So everything progressing, some places a little faster than others. And in 1725, the Zulu all the way up into Arabia. Central Africa and Western Africa, maybe a little bit of consolidation, but most of what we're seeing is going on up here in Europe as well as over in Asia. Persia and the Mamluks have pushed Greece out of Anatolia, and to be honest with you, Transylvania has pushed Bulgaria and Greece out of Bulgaria and Greece. We have some weird borders down here. This is Hessa, like German Hesse. They have some random provinces as France has collapsed. Burgundy and Provence have taken over the majority of the development, with Great Britain taking over the northern lands up here in Brittany and Normandy, but somehow Hesse got some land over here. Also, the conquest of Iberia continues, and only Lisboa, Cadiz, and I think a couple of these provinces over here remain for Catalonia to conquer. Finland is doing pretty good, pushing all the way over into Russia, right next to Russia. India, maybe a bit more consolidation, maybe. China definitely has a bit of consolidation between Dali, Shu, Liang, and oh my gosh, how about that Qing? Nepal has formed, which is really cool, but they also border the Qing all the way over into this area, all the way over to the Bering Sea, and everything in between. Very funny, this Chukchi has migrated, I believe. I think Chukchi is like over here, but I could be wrong. Either way, it's a Siberian native. Korea just holding as still as possible, hoping that the hostile forces around them aren't gonna notice that they're there. Tokugawa continues to push Otomo, but I don't know if they've taken a single province from them. Maybe they're friends. And finally, a little bit of border changes over here. Palembang has pushed into Java and the Malay Peninsula. Not to mention these islands over here, they've taken a bunch of the Spice Islands. Australia has consolidated a bit under this Eora, and these guys I don't think have changed, and I don't know if these guys have changed a whole lot either. And honestly, if the borders in South or North America have changed at all, I couldn't tell you. I know these Pima guys have clearly taken over quite a bit, but aside from that, I don't really see anything interesting happening, which kind of is how I feel about the New World in general. With a little less than 100 years left, Hessa is actually the #1 great power in the world, which is absolutely nuts to me. We're going to have to take a look at that. Followed by Great Britain, Catalonia, the Memluks, Qing, Zulu in the 6th spot, Madurai, and then Persia rounding out the 8th spot with just under 1,000 development. But you can see here, their development is very uniform. So it looks like the guys that are in the top 8 have just kind of been growing at roughly the same speed. And this would explain the burst of development that Hessa has. Provence is a personal union under them. That's why they've been able to take over this land from them. So that's interesting. But yeah, kind of hard to believe that just this right here makes you a #1 great power. But apparently it does. And we let a little bit of extra time go by because I wanted to see kind of where things ended up if we just let the AI run rampant. And there's quite a bit of interesting stuff for us to be taking a look at. For one, Bharat formed by Mewar into Rajputana and dominated the entirety of India. Qing pushed all the way into Indonesia, getting most of Indonesia, most of Southeast Asia in general, and all of China and Manchuria, as well as a portion of Japan. Tokugawa was pushed back to 2 provinces, with Otomo taking quite a bit of land back, or conquering a bit of land, and Hokkaido almost exclusively to Ainu with their 1444 borders, which is hilarious. Australia formed as a Bornean subject state. We have British Greenland, British Iceland, Britain, British Ireland, British France, and wait a minute, this is Zulu Arabia. That's right, Zulu absolutely dominated here in Africa, splitting it with Catalonia of all people, because obviously Catalonia is kind of the elephant in the room. They ate all of South America and North America except for the Caribbean islands, which is pretty nuts. Scandinavia is absolutely massive, formed by Finland of all people. Finland ended up dominating, pushing all the way over into Manchuria, down into Iran, and even taking a couple of provinces over here in Anatolia. Super funny because Greece has basically every province that it started with except for Cyprus and Gallipoli. Persia sort of migrated out of Persia and into Anatolia. I think this is actually kind of cognizant of how things were with the Turks and the Persians back in the day. The Persian Empire used to push all the way over to here. I do know that they at least had up to the Dardanelles, right? Because Macedonia and Alexander the Great, that was who he attacked, was the Persian Empire, crossing over into Anatolia. At least I'm pretty sure that's what the case was. Italy formed, splitting parts of Italy with Westphalia and Scandinavia, and Catalonia, if you consider Sicily. Westphalia has crazy borders, but not quite as crazy as Hanover, in my opinion. Hanover migrated out of Hanover into the Netherlands and Saxony, apparently, and Saxony pushed up into this Saxony-Anhalt area. Though don't get it twisted, the Netherlands still exist over here in Brabant. We do still have Prague under the control of Bohemia, with Silesia splitting them, and then some land over here, and they actually have Krakow. The religious map mode is absolutely wild, with Zulu bringing the message of the feet all the way from the tip of South Africa all the way up into Egypt. The fetishists and Sunnis of sub-Saharan Africa have all been converted to Catholic, and for the most part, Islam exists only in kind of the cradle of civilization over here, as well as parts of Hormuz and a couple of portions, random provinces over here, Borneo and stuff like that. But for the most part, it is like gone. As you can see here, Finland converted the majority of this land over here to Protestant. Of course, we do have the Church of England, but it didn't spread anywhere outside of their borders. Over here, they worship the eagle, like Borat. And though Catalonia conquered all of North and South America, they only converted a couple of provinces in this area, as well as over here in Brazil. Hindu is the official faith of India, despite the coping and seething of many men. When I did the India is United video, I got a lot of people from Pakistan as well as Bangladesh that were like very, very angry with me. You guys have to consider, this is just a game. It's not what I think, because I know the modern day borders of India. It's what the game considers India. Don't yell at me. Regardless, Shinto is still over here on the Japanese islands, and Confucian in China, with some Tangri as well. If you don't know, when Manchu forms Qing, they convert to Confucian and lose their horde status. So they are indeed the Chinese kingdom. Cultures in the end, it's all Serbian. Always has been. Meanwhile, a couple of provinces converted to Burgundian and Occitan maybe? I could be wrong though. Lands over here 100% converted into Novgorodian, because I know for a fact that this is not Novgorodian. Same with the Punjabi. I don't believe they go this far, but I could be wrong. Oromo has spread quite a bit over here in the Nile Valley, and the Tuareg have definitely converted some of the land over here, splitting it with the Hausa. But then Songhai and Yoruba over here still doing their thing. The New World looks almost exclusively New World cultures, except for maybe a couple here or there. I can't really see, to be honest. And the number one great power of the world, no surprise, Catalonia, but holy smokes, how about Scandinavia within 1,300 development of them? Qing in the third place, still above 10,000 development, with Bharat, Zulu, Westphalia, Great Britain, and Persia rounding out the top 8, Persia with just under 3,000 development. Scandinavia, fully stacked economic hegemon of the world, Catalonia, almost fully stacked naval hegemon, and Qing working their way up to the military hegemon, but they would need a bigger army to keep those numbers going up. You guys usually like to see the development map mode. Generally, I try to keep these videos a little bit shorter, but we'll go over a couple of interesting things. Obviously, when you're just taking a broad look at it, you can see most of the development here in sub-Saharan Africa looks pretty good, and Europe obviously looks really good. As a matter of fact, a lot of these provinces are extremely high development. Like these Savannah provinces are all 30 plus development, which is insane. Meanwhile, this province over here is 83 development, and do you guys know why? I'll tell you in a minute. I'll give you a hint. It's the same reason that Auvergne over here is 72 development, as well as this one is 71. This one is 67. Aachen over here at 64. Do you guys know why? Because the AI is obsessed with coal, even more so than I am. And that is why they tend to develop it more. That way they can get lots and lots of goods produced. That way they can make big money, aka buckets of ducats. London at 74. Northumberland at 74 as well. Take a look at this Ratibor province for Bohemia at 94 development. 41 base production. That is crazy. Though I think my favorite of all of it is this Nyland province here in Scandinavia, which is 77. Absolutely massive development for this province. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed that video. I really enjoyed making it. If you guys have a suggestion of something you'd like to see, like I said before, make sure you leave a comment down below and tell me what you'd like to see. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it and subscribe to the channel because there is tons more to come and you're going to be missing out if you're not subscribed. Whenever you do subscribe, make sure you ding the bell so you get notified. My patrons had early access to this video and you can too if you check it out. Link in the description. Join my Discord, my subreddit, my Twitter. Those things are all linked in the description. And that is all I've got for you for today. I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful day. And until next time, stay chill.